Welcome to Coaching Youth Hoops.
Coach,
Coach,
how are you?
I'm
How you doing?
excellent. I'm
Good.
excellent. How are you?
I'm great. Fired up. We get again talked
I
about
know it's
basketball.
October.
So
Love October.
so
It's probably my favorite time. From an old Wisconsin boy, you gotta love October.
I love the fall. I heard listened to a great podcast the other day. She was talking about fall is really the transition time. Everybody saves their goals till the beginning of the year. She said you should that September is the month you should set your goals because to achieve by the end of the year. Think about it, right? You got September, October, November, December, right? You got 4 months versus when you set them in January, like, oh, I got 12 months.
Oh, that's
Well, here
true.
you got a deadline. Like
Well,
that's a
let's
hard
set
deadline. I
some
love
goals
that.
for coaching youth hoops right now. We need to get some more people over. Let's tell them about our practice planner.
Yeah, hey coaches, yeah, head
I
on over
know.
to coachingyouthhoops.com. We just launched a build your build your own practice plan tool and just click on the button right up at the top. It says build your plan or create your plan, and it'll walk you through a series of questions, and we customize that plan based on your needs. It's
I
pretty
know.
simple to use. Download the plans right away, take them to the practice in 30 seconds, minute maybe, you can be out the door with a
It's
fresh
powered
set of
by
practice plans.
AI too.
Powered by AI.
I know
Yeah.
it's awesome. I just did a test run of it because you'd been working on it. It's like it's great. It was perfect.
Yeah,
Um,
and if you have any questions about it, coaches, or you run into an issue, just let us know. It's a new product, but it works really well. I had fun yesterday or this week using it for my two different teams, and then practicing all the drills that came out of it.
all right,
It was a lot of fun experimenting.
my goal is for 25 of you that are listening to buy that. That's my goal. That's my goal. Give them where they find that again, coach.
Yeah, go to coachingyouthhoops.com. And remember, we're on speaking of goal, right? We're on our march to 1 million kids, right? So our plan is always to positively influence 1 million kids through the game of basketball, and we do that by helping you guys. So, through free tools, paid tools, anything you guys
Resources.
need, yeah. Um,
This podcast.
Podcast, yeah.
I know.
So.
All right. So, and today's topic was perfect leading into that, right?
Yeah, yeah, and actually this came out this from our mailbag, if you will. Coaches, leaving feedback for us. What are you struggling with, right? Was the question. And one of the biggest things that came out of that was managing the talent gap on a team, right? You have your top two or three players, and then you have your mid-tier, and then you have your kids maybe that's their first year starting, right? Or they're not up to that caliber. So coaches are struggling with how do you manage that, keep everybody
It
from
can
getting
feel
frustrated and
literally like the Grand Canyon, like the
yeah,
gap
the gap.
between
Hmm.
it because so I had a meeting with my youth coaches and we went through some stuff. We're gonna do some live clinics in a couple weeks, but um and that's what that was one of the questions they asked. It's like, how do I deal with, because I'm talking about, like, we were talking about the rule of three offense, then we were talking about kind of funnel, and we were doing some other
Yeah.
things and some motion stuff. And they, well, I could just, I've taught long enough. I could look out there and some of their eyes were about, the big as a saucer. And it's like, they're saying, well, I got four guys that can do that, coach. And the other six, there's no way, the gap is just too big. So, one of the ways I think when you decide to do stuff, I think it is how you manage that. Like, what can you do? It's from a teacher, you got to differentiate. Like maybe these two kids can only do this part of the offense or these two specific things. um, so I think it's putting them. I always say a great coach like hides the kryptonite and accentuates the positive things, because that's what great. I
Yeah.
don't want to know what Steph's not good at. Steph Curry. I don't know. Maybe he's not good at anything, but I'm sure there's part of the game of basketball he's not as good at. So how do you hide that? You know,
Right. Yeah.
um, and I think it's bigger when you have guys that maybe can't. It's hard when they can't catch and dribble. I get that, coaches. Then you have other issues, but usually it's a skill set or something specific like that that they can't do, you
Well,
know?
relate that back to being a teacher, right? So you're in your stats class and you have just your top A students
Yep.
and you have
To be
kids that are
honest with you,
just
I don't
absolutely
have to,
struggling.
I push the A students a different way, but I
Hmm.
probably don't have to spend quite as much time with them because they're already self-motivated. Like, think about the great players. They're already
Hmm. Hmm.
self-motivated. They just want to
Yeah.
know what to do and they'll go do it. So from a practice planning part, especially when I have another parent helping, it's like, all right, A, B, and C, I know are pretty good, and I know the
Yeah.
skills, and I know the skills they have to work on. And if I put another adult with them, they'll go do it. I mean, they would do it outside at a court,
Yeah.
but I have to spend more time. Like today, I was doing something with some graphing stuff, and a couple of kids were having some problems, and I probably spent more time with them than the other 27 because I had to meet them where they were and try to raise them to where they were with the rest of their class, or at least in the middle of the rest of their class. So I think that's what you got to try to do with your players is they call it scaffolding for any of you
Yeah.
teachers. You're just basically got a scaffold. It's literally why teachers have nervous breakdowns because you you have all these scaffolds and it's like, and there's one of you and 20, 30 of them, and you're trying to
Right.
meet
Right.
them where they are. So I think that's a difficult thing. Hey, before you give me your ideas on this, let's give
Yeah.
a big shout. We didn't talk about Game Changer. Let's give
Yeah,
a big
coaches,
shout. Game
check
Changer.
out, yeah, if you're in need of stats tracking, video analysis, uh, team management, go check out Game Changer at gc.com/coaching youth hoops. Uh, Again, great resource to use for managing games, collecting stats, sharing game footage. It's absolutely brilliant. Uses AI um, to map statistics per player. Um, so gives you a
Yeah,
lot of great feedback without a lot of work involved in doing that. So again, gc.com/coaching youth hoops.
perfect. All right. So what's your thought on this?
Oh,
Because you
yeah,
and you're
I have a
coaching this
team.
level right now, this team,
Yeah,
right? This
exactly.
kind of
Yeah,
level
yeah. I
right
mean,
now.
and I have a fourth and fifth grade team, and there's a huge talent gap. And I think there's something that also comes out of that where you have your better players. If you don't control the culture, they can they can get very frustrated with the players that are not getting it. So controlling the culture so everybody knows that hey, we're all in this to learn, right? Some of them are, some of us are a little bit better than others at certain things, but in order for us to be a team and be successful, we all have to pitch in and work together, right? Uh, and for a young person, that's a tough lesson to learn, but it's definitely worth the time putting in and teaching them how to handle the situation when they may get a little frustrated because they throw a pass and the person doesn't catch it, right?
Right.
Um, but that's got to come from you and setting that culture. But on the other hand, I have this young lady, sweetest little girl. Um, sh
And how committed is because I'm thinking other coaches are listening.
yeah,
Fourth grade girls, these girls must be into basketball if they're playing it at
yeah,
fourth grade.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
These are
yeah.
not your recreational type girls, probably at this point.
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
but for the most part, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we practice twice a week, 90 minutes. Um, we do go year round. Some of these players have been going year round, and definitely the talent level has shown that. But I have a girl on the team right now that she is at a recreational level. Um, and she is trying her hardest and coming to every practice. And I don't necessarily, right or wrong, I don't necessarily treat her any different. She does the same drills. I have a lot more patience with her, and we talk about being, again, going back to that culture, right? Every day we recite it, our red dot, which, that O is being open, right? Means being coachable and accepting of other people. And, this is a perfect case. And she has gotten so much better because she is motivated herself to become better. And if you just keep on encouraging and and it's about the effort and energy she's putting in, she'll come back and want to play, put in the time to do it, right? And now and I don't have help, right? So it's just me. If I did have help, I would break out, I would do some breakout stuff and like not
Right.
necessarily isolate her, but kind of split up the two groups, kind of your A group and B group, and then
Right.
work on stuff. Um,
And I think
but
that's important too, because you want to challenge. You don't want boredom, you
right,
know.
yeah.
That's
Well,
what I
and
always
then
worry
what
about.
I also do again, I'll put my A players with her in a I just did this, put my A players with this girl that is just newer to basketball and I give them the speech like she's on your team and you'd also this is life, right? You have right. So again, we teach those life lessons in practice where you're gonna have this out in the workforce and or you're going to have this in the classroom. It doesn't matter, right? There's just the talent gap could be pretty large. So you as a player need to know how to work with a person who is not at your talent level without getting frustrated, right? So you're on mute, by the way.
It's good I'm on mute because I'm like,
Uh,
what you're telling me is like been my 37 anyway, like 37 years in education anyway. Um, but yes, it's hard sometimes when you're working with people that's like, come on, this is you should anyway. I'm not
well,
gonna.
again, so what the big takeaways, right?
Yes.
It starts with culture.
Yes.
And again, your better players could get frustrated, but if you handle the culture
And you don't
correctly,
want anybody to quit because of the gap. We didn't really
correct.
dive into that because
That's true.
that's
Yeah. Right.
that's
You
a
don't want
little bit
anybody to
of
quit.
the issue because these
That's
bottom
right.
ones like, oh, they're so good. I'm done. I'm done.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons my daughter wasn't having fun. Coach was a little too stern, and she thought the other girls were too good. That was the end. She's never gonna be a basketball player anyway, but that's what turned I mean, that's what turned
Yeah.
her off to it. It's like, I'm gonna do this. Like, how do I do something else? Um, so I think that's something you got to think about for sure.
And the only way they're going to learn is by doing.
Right.
Everybody started at the same spot,
Yes.
right? So, uh, you can't you have to put them into the drills that you're doing. You just may not be able to do them, but again, but if you keep on doing it, keep on doing it, they will get a little bit better. Now think about that from an offensive perspective. So you're running your offense and they're just, you know,
Right.
they're not getting the spatial awareness and all of the other things. And as a coach, yeah, of course that can be frustrating. We've all been there. And I think that was the message in some of these is how do you get these players to contribute? How do you give your A players, the ball and let them go to work without also being ball hogs, right? Where they're just kind of
Right.
taking over the game. And I think you said it at the beginning, find that thing that person's good at, the smallest thing, and have her focus on that or have him focus on that.
Yep. That
Uh,
ego food, that thing that makes
yeah,
them click. Yep. Not the
I don't care
kryptonite.
if it's the loudest cheerleader, right? Okay, start there. That's a kernel, right? You can build from that. That's great. They give the best high fives, or they're always doing, right? They bring energy and effort to every practice. But look for that one thing, or maybe she's a good passer, or maybe she is really good at pivoting. Find that thing that they're good at. Maybe they're just a good person.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Yes.
yeah. And I know that's not the answer necessarily what coaches want to hear, but you have to incorporate them. Tell me if I'm wrong, incorporate them into a practice. If you have help, split them up. Even if you don't, you can you can split your team up on two baskets to work on things at a different pace. Like I've done that where I'll take my top players and say, we're going to do this layup drill but you have to do 50
Right.
and they have to do 25, or I'll spot the one team 10
Yes.
layups, right?
Yep.
And they'll say, well, that's not fair. I'm like,
You know what?
it's fair.
That's
It's fair.
life's not fair. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, it's
exactly.
hard to have that discussion in fourth
Yeah.
grade. All right. Anything else, coach?
No, coaches, just be patient.
Yeah.
And it's going to take time and you're going to get frustrated, but just, don't be their last coach, as you always say, right? Love on them.
Yep, love on them, and then also go over
You
and check
know,
out the practice planner, the builder. Tell them about that again, coach.
yeah, go to coachingyouthhoops.com and check out the practice plan builder. You'll see it right in the front page. It says create your practice plan. Click on that. It'll walk you through a series of questions based on unique uh, needs of your team. And this is now one of the, things on the practice planner, which is the talent level on the team.
Yes.
So we're taking that into consideration.
And you got it, and you have to do that. I mean, as a coach, you
Every
have
team
to take
has
that.
it. You have 3 state championships.
Right.
You can name, I mean, don't do it, but you can
Oh,
go 1 through 10
you can't.
on all three of those teams,
Yes.
right?
Yes. And there were issues and pieces
Yeah.
and
So it doesn't
gaps,
matter.
and no, it doesn't matter.
NBA, they have it, right?
Yeah.
Every level has their one through
Team
10.
USA had it this year, so it
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
exactly. So it doesn't matter. You just have to learn how to coach through
All
it.
right. Till next week, coach.
Till next week.